What's up, everybody? It's Mike. It is Fantasy Cheat Sheet presented by Going for Two. But before we get to the guys, we got to hit the button.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, what's up, guys? It is our regularly scheduled program. What is up, guys? Jamie, what is up, my man?
Just enjoying the life after week one. Bunch of wins, some crucial losses, but you know what? We just keep moving forward.
Crucial losses, that's for damn sure. 6 leagues against Josh Allen. Jordan, you're next.
Yeah, same. Josh Allen, Keon Coleman took me down in the fishbowl, but got some dubs in other places, man. Happy football is back. Ready to talk about it. Week 2 tonight.
What is up, Raul?
Yo, good to see all of you. Yeah, week 1 in the books. I gotta say, the point scoring season is a lot less cozy than the off season, where my takes have already, some of them have already, flown left, right off the map. But good to be back. It's my first year ever owning Derrick Henry in a lineup league, and Sunday night was quite fun. Even if it didn't end on the best note for the king himself, that just makes me think he'll be hungrier for more fantasy points on my teams. But excited for this show, gentlemen.
What's up, Meatball? What's going on? I hope you won in our league this week. I met him in a league this summer, and we have been talking almost every day. Not as much as me and Jamie talking junk to each other, but we have definitely been talking. And then, of course, there's a smartass in the chat and says, "Sup, all you smart people." And Mike, just wait because I have something for you later. Albert, what is going on? And we will get. I'm going to bring your other comment up later, Meatball, because we will be talking about him. So let's get straight into the regular scheduled program of the year. So we got our Monday Night Football takeaway. We got our favorite segment of the year, of the show throughout the year that Jordan came up with, real or fake. We have our host topic, and then for the cheat of the week, we have waiver wire. So let's get into it. Jamie, last night, the Vikings came back and beat the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. What was your biggest takeaway, sir?
So mine, it was the early struggles of J.J. McCarthy. Like his first career game on the road versus an elite defense, right? So he had delay of games. I think he got sacked 3 times. He had an interception. Montez Sweat went up and knocked down that ball like he was Shaquille O'Neal. And then he got his first career touchdown, but it was to the other team. But finally, later on, he comes alive in the fourth quarter. I thought it was a little too late, but he gets a touchdown to Jefferson. Then I think Aaron Jones ran that wheel route for that touchdown that put him ahead. And then that 14-yard rushing touchdown just put that nail in the coffin for him. So even with 3 quarters of struggles, that fourth quarter alone just shows the promise that he's going to have going forward, and he's just going to get better as the season goes on.
Jordan, what do you think about McCarthy, and then just go straight into yours?
Yeah. So there was a lot of me patting myself on the back at the first half of this game, and then there was a little bit of me being a little quiet in the second half. I think, like you said, Jamie, obviously it's a guy in his first start, bouncing back, has going to face adversity. I like the way that he showed resiliency with the weapons that he has. It's kind of easier to bounce back, getting the ball to those guys. So he showed a lot of poise out there. Kudos to him. The thing for me that I took away was just kind of what I talked about last week when we were all kind of throwing it around, just the pass volume and that effect on the other pass catchers outside of Jefferson. I mean, he threw the ball, I think it was 20 pass attempts. And, Jefferson had 7 targets, Hawkinson 4. Jefferson was able to squeeze that touchdown in, but without the touchdown, his fantasy day would have been terrible for what we drafted him at. Last year, the Vikings threw at at a rate of I think it was around 49. Yeah, they threw more passes, like 30 or so pass attempts per game. They only ran 49 plays last night, which led to that compared to averaging about 62 last year. So obviously you expect a faster paced game. He'll get some more pass attempts in, but I'm just let's say you add, even if you add around 7 or so pass attempts, I don't imagine them wanting to throw the ball 30 times with a guy in his second, third, fourth, in his first season. So I'm still worried. Last night did not quell those worries that I had about the other guys outside of Jefferson.
Got you. Roll, if you want to make a couple quick comments on Jordan's and then just roll into yours, we'll go around.
Yeah, I think Jordan, you had brought this up, the worry about the pass volume the week prior, and I think we saw that all play out, and that's even with a game that they were down by 2 scores for a portion of it, and
Most of it.
yeah, driving to win the game. And I would even say that they really started going after they handed the ball off to Jordan Mason. He had that long drive with quite a few nice runs on it. We'll get more on the Vikings a little bit later, but I want to talk about Caleb Williams. There's always a Freaky Friday kind of situation with the two young quarterbacks. They all swap spots. Got a lot of texts coming in like, hey, Caleb looks great, blah, blah. And then, towards the end, you kind of saw that system fall apart. He's really struggled to hit DJ Moore and what would have been a walk-in touchdown. I thought he really struggled with his timing, throwing over the middle. Now, the Vikings are also an elite defense, so we could hopefully see that bounce back for Caleb. But I want to point out something I thought was interesting for fantasy, and that's how Caleb did on the ground. He had 58 rush yards and a rushing touchdown, which gave him a 24-point fantasy game. No designed runs were called. These were all on scrambles. Curiously, he had 2 runs over 20 miles per hour. No other quarterback hit 20 miles per hour on any of their runs this week. And that's after we saw a lot of great rushing performances. Not that this stat really means anything, but I think for the eye test, Caleb actually looked pretty elusive and nifty in the open field. I just wonder, is this something that's going to prop up his fantasy outlook, make him a regular starter, even as the offense has some struggles? He did have 489 rush yards last year, 30 per game. Again, mainly on scrambles. Is it more of a sign of the offense breaking down and he's forced to run? Or is it a weapon that they can tap into? But definitely for his fantasy outlook, I think that rushing just boosts a little bit, even while we're a little bit concerned about how the passing attack is going to look.
Yeah, Jamie, do you have a couple of comments about rolls before I go with mine?
You can just go ahead and yours. I know we got a lot to talk about tonight.
Oh, yeah, we do. So I'm just going to get into mine. I'm just going to touch on a couple quick subjects. And then because after I go, because the host doesn't know what he's doing today because he was rushing around, he totally forgot a section of the show. So after my take, we're going to jump right into the missed section. So quickly, I've had a couple things I wanted to talk about. One, like you brought up, Roll. At first, it looked like Caleb was going to, having a great first half. Where the living heck is that offensive line that they paid for this freaking offseason? In the second half, they were doo-doo butter. They were dumpster fire. They weren't, Jordan, I can see you already know what I'm about to say. They weren't bend and don't break. What were they, Jordan? They were bend and
I'm letting you do it.
shatter. They were bend and shatter, baby. I don't know what the heck happened to this freaking offensive line in the second half. It was like they freaking went in at halftime, had some Chicago hot dogs, and never got off the freaking bench. But the other thing that I want to bring up, because I know we have talked about this in the offseason as a community, a couple of us have talked about this. We talked about it last episode when we were previewing. Jamie, you have talked about it in other shows. I remember you and Raul talking about it on your show. The split with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. It was almost a 50 split on snaps. Jordan Mason had a run. So did Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, I think they're going to use him in more situational stuff where, like you said, Jamie, the wheel route, and use him when they need him. But also, I think when it's the money downs, it's going to be Aaron. But they still have hope to get somewhere in this season, not just a whole. They don't think they're just going to have a bad year. So I think they're going to use both of them. It's not going to be nice in the sense of it's not going to be a bell cow for either. So either one might have a touchdown one game. Last night was Aaron Jones. Next week might be Jordan. But what do you guys think about that real quick?
I mean, there's just going to be a situational split, just like you said.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones, didn't he have, even without the touchdown, he would have still had more points than Mason, I believe.
Yeah, it's just the
So he's getting those high. Yeah.
He was getting the high value.
Fantasy-wise, you want Aaron Jones still. I keep seeing people say, "Oh, I want to sell Aaron Jones."
No,
you don't. You still hold him. Just because he didn't get as many carries, it's the valuable touches that he's still getting. That's going to give you fantasy points. Mason's still going to get you touchdowns. He just didn't last week. So.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the miss section. I can't believe I did that. I'm so irritated at myself. All right, news of the week. That's how we normally start the show, but we're going to just jump into it real quick before we get into the other topics. They got 3 topics we're going to talk about real quick. So, Jamie, George Kittle got put on IR. My rosters are not happy. 4 weeks guaranteed minimum on the sideline. I've heard more like 5 to 7. We knew it was bad because George Kittle's not the type to run off the field and just not try to come back. He knew that he was done for the day, which I thought this was going to be a thing. What's your opinion, and what does this do for the team?
It's going to hurt the team. And Kittle, him being out, we all knew it was going to happen at some point in the season. We just didn't expect it week 1. And having it 4+ games, that is just really bad for fantasy teams, especially the ones that drafted them in the 3rd round, like me in a lot of my leagues. And there's no tight end behind him that you can just plug and play. So it's just going to be a cluster of where do these targets go? Pearsall, Jennings is going to be back. I expect him to see more volume. Ayuk's, I mean, he's not going to be healthy until week 8, 7, 8?
Or at the earliest.
So it's going to be bad for them. This is going to hurt their playoff contention for sure.
All right. So, Raul, what do you think?
Man, what I think is, I don't know if CMC became some kind of life force draining vampire, but it is insane that the most injured man in football is the only healthy guy on this team. In my main redraft league with some of my friends from college, I started the year with one injured 49er. That was Ayuk, straight in my IR spot. Now I've got Kittle, Jennings, and Brock Purdy questionable to play. I think Jennings cleared out, but when did Brock Purdy get injured? Like, this team is cursed, man. And Kittle is a big miss. Kittle is a really big miss. Even though Pearsall showed some flashes, and even in the first game didn't get the volume, but had a nice game in spells. Like, that is a key piece of this offense to miss. And man, this is an offense that I was even thinking like could get back to top 5, just given how soft their schedule was, and it could get really messy real quick here.
So with Purdy out, are we going to see Mac Jones? Who?
Maybe Shanahan planned it.
No, stop. If you're gonna say his name on this show, you say his name right, sir.
McCorkle Jones.
No.
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. Get it right. All right. So the next piece of info. We all know who's going first on this next piece of news. Wide receiver Christian Watson got an extension for $13.2 million. I know he doesn't care too much about this. I can see it in his face. But Jordan, I still have to throw it to you since you're the Green Bay Packers fan, my main man.
I mean, a 1-year deal, he has talent, as we all know. He's a talented guy, and they still believe in him. I mean, I'm not mad at it. It's not much of a risk of anything. We have a bunch of receivers, so if he doesn't pan out, then it means he doesn't pan out. But you'll take a chance on a playmaker like that to hope that he stays healthy. We need that deep threat. And if we can hit on it, then I mean that'll be another weapon to our explosive offense, like we showed this past Sunday.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I loved watching your team play this week because I told you guys in that big league I drafted. I ended up drafting Green Bay's defense in that giant league. I haven't talked to you guys about it because I messaged Jamie who my roster was. But I'm just gonna say Romeo Dubs looks the weirdest in a Guardian helmet that I've ever seen in my life. Some guys it fits. He looks like a cone head with that thing.
Yeah, and like at one point in the game, it was like it like went higher, and I was like, bro, pull it down, like just pull it down, like
So bad. Especially when he caught that long ball, I'm like, dude, what do you call it?
yeah, what do you do?
So this next piece of info, I'm going to stay away from it on one side of the ball. So there was a trade from the Jacksonville Jaguars to the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to stay away from the Jaguars side because it's going to come up later in the show. But Tank Bigsby is now a Philadelphia Eagle. There was some rumors that there was a little bit of injury, maybe with Shipley. They do have A.J. Dillon, A.J. Schmillen. So, Jamie, then Jordan, what do you guys think about this deal for the Eagles side of it?
I like it for the Eagles. I hate it for all my Shipley sharers because I thought he was going to be one of the most elite handcuffs in fantasy just because of that offensive line. If for some reason Barkley gets hurt, I think Bigsby's going to get a good amount of workload, at least 60% snaps, maybe sharing with Dillon. I know Shipley looked good at those touches that he had. He got hurt, right? So he's not completely healthy, and that's probably why they brought in Bigsby.
Jordan.
Yeah, same. I like it. You can plug decent running backs into the Eagle system, and they can flourish. So I like it for them. Nice insurance policy for Saquon, and they'll keep the running back room productive.
All right, so it is time for the segment we call Real or Fake. But Rahul hasn't been here yet, so he hasn't heard the way I say it. So you guys ready for it? It is time for Real or Fake. Jamie,
Let's go.
Who is your real player? And I'll be honest, I knew this was coming before I even put the sheet out.
Yeah, I mean, if you followed me all off season, you knew I was high on this guy. Harold Fannin Jr., man. He is the real deal. He was a top 6 tight end this week. Yeah, 13.6 fantasy points. He was on the field for 72% of the Brown snaps and seen a 21.6% target share.
What's his Raz?
He is unbelievable, man. It's off the charts. Like he lined up everywhere. Also, like at tight end, in the slot, out wide. He even got a carry in the backfield. He's going to be a mismatch nightmare for defenses. And with him playing on 70+% of snaps, that's awesome. So, but here's the kicker. Like he played fewer snaps than Njoku did, but still saw more targets than Njoku. So that's huge. He had 55 total snaps, and that was 4th most of any Browns skill player. So, and listen, like, I even got to hang out with Harold Fannin's mom and uncle over the summer. Like,
I knew it.
They loved my write-up I did on their son, and they're just as fired up as I am about Harold Fannin's future. And I think
Of course, it's his mother.
I even taught them stuff about their son that she didn't even know. So she was ecstatic about that. But anyway, like fantasy managers, you need to put Harold Fannin Jr. on your radar for 2025 and beyond. Like I've been hyping him all off season. Raul, you know it, and that the breakout, like it's already showing his very first game. So I wouldn't be surprised if he cracks the top 12 in more games coming up.
Okay, Jamie, before Jordan goes real quick on this, give a quick answer to that question on the screen.
Should I sell?
Should I sell on Njoku or hold?
I would see what you can get for him. I would sell him.
I'm not selling him for nickels though.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
sell him for what he's worth. But I think Fannon's gonna put a damper on his upside. Like we all thought he could be top 6. That's where we're drafting him, 6, 7, 8.
Yep.
And then Fannin steps in and he's tight end 6. So that could be something to worry about.
All right, Jordan, what do you think about Mr. Harold
As
Fannin Jr.?
as someone who has Njoku in quite a few leagues, I'm kind of pissed, But I do think that Fannin is the real deal. When you have a rookie tight end who plays that many snaps in his first game and they trust him with that many targets, that's a sign of things to come. I'm not saying he's going to take all the targets from Njoku, but they trust him, they believe in him, and the Browns are going to be throwing a lot this season just because they're going to be losing a lot. So I think I don't see him going away. And if Njoku gets hurt, it's through the roof. So he's definitely the real deal.
All right, so Jamie, I know you love Harold Fannin. Me and you have discussed this other player. I cannot talk about him because he upsets me this week. Take it away, sir.
Okay, so my fake is Zay Flowers, and I loved his value in drafts. But so far he's overall wide receiver 1, right? That's amazing for him, especially considering you drafted him outside the top 30 wide receivers. But you need to give him. So Mike, you told me this stat.
Yep.
In 2024, I think it was 6 players had 4 or more games with 110 yards last year, and that was Justin Jefferson, Nico Collins, St. Brown, AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, and what did you say, Zay freaking Flowers?
Zay Flowers was the last one, and I was in
Yeah.
shock.
But here's the problem: you never really know when to play him because last season you were thrilled to have him in about 6 games. The rest of the year, he was no better than wide receiver 32, and 5 times he finished outside the wide receiver 66 or worse. So yes, like he'll have those splash weeks like he did today or this week, but he's not going to be wide receiver 1 ever again. Maybe even in his career. So don't expect another top 10, even a top 10 finish at the end of the season. All those disappearances that we're going to see from him is going to average out and it's going to frustrate you. And that's why I'm calling him a fake.
All right. Raul, what do you think about Zay Flowers real quick?
I share the exact same view about him. And is this take lock on my end? I don't know. But I think, Jamie, the last point especially you hit on, just the best ball versus the lineup league quandary of Zay Flowers. If you have Zay Flowers in best ball, if you're drafting him, yeah, like wide receiver 32 to 36, you're probably feeling really good because you saw that boom potential. But I think it's really going to be a struggle to trust him in locking him into your lineup. Watching that game, especially in the second half when a lot of the Zay Flowers production came, the Bills were doing everything to sell out and stop, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson from killing drives in one long run. They're like 8, 9, 10 men in the box almost at points. And yeah, at some point, Lamar is going to pick you apart. Zay Flowers is a talented player. I've always called him like Kadarius Toney, but good. He's got that like shifty ability that Kadarius Toney has shown in very, very few sparks in the NFL. The role is just not one that's proven to be fantasy conducive. As this a team, I mean, it's interesting. I just looked it up when you mentioned JJ McCarthy's pass attempts, but JJ McCarthy was second last of the week, only ahead of Lamar Jackson at 19 pass attempts. Now, the nerds, myself included, could break that down and be like, damn, 50% target share for Zay Flowers.
Let's
I
not
wouldn't
go
be...
there.
But I just think we're gonna get into a lot of game scripts like where the Ravens aren't gonna have to keep chasing points, when they're up already like 30, 40 points. It's probably gonna lean on a little more on Derrick Henry as games, start to unfold. And I just fear we're gonna be, Zay Flowers is gonna be like that wide receiver 2, 3 that's either wide receiver 12 or like wide receiver 48 moving forward. So for now, I will call fake on Zay Flowers as well.
Awesome. All right. So before we get into your players, Jordan, real quick, we're going to go around the horn. We'll start with you, Jamie, Jordan, and then Raul. Here's a trade. Do you think it is worth trading A.J. Brown and Aaron Jones for Amon-Ra or Nico Collins?
Maybe Nico. I don't know.
Yeah,
Nico and AJ Brown weren't that far apart in drafts. Like maybe 4 or 5 picks.
but they should be farther. I would rather have Nico.
Yeah, I'm thinking Nico.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I
Unless
think
it's
we should actually maybe put another lower running back besides Aaron Jones.
that's where I was going to come in with. If it's a 2-flex league, then I might think that Aaron Jones side, to fill out that lineup. It depends on your, bench, whatever. In a vacuum, though, of 1 flex, that AJ Brown performance is real worry. He just didn't look all the way healthy. I saw all these stats like Cowboys ran 100% zone coverage, but 1 target on basically the last play of the game. Something just feels off there.
Yeah, we'll see about that. So, Jordan, in the news, we talked about a trade, and we said we didn't want to talk about the Jaguars. Why is that?
Because my reel this week, man, is my boy from Louisiana, Travis Etienne, man. I was worried. We were told this all season that, and even on the depth charts that we shouldn't read too much into, that Etienne and Bigsby were both number 1 on the depth chart. But Etienne came out 16 carries, 143 yards. He played 60% of the snaps. Tank Bigsby only played 21%. So now he's out of there. Bashaw Tootin only played 6% of snaps, and LaQuinn Allen, for whatever reason, is active and played 14%. But going back to ATN, he broke a 71-yard run, showing that explosiveness that we all loved. And even if you take away that run, 15 for 72 is almost 5 yards a carry. So he was still efficient on the ground. They're playing this week. They'll be playing against the Bengals, and Raul will talk a little bit about that. And when it's his turn, but he has the potential getting this snap share, getting these carries, he had 3 catches as well. So if he can keep getting this snap share, I don't see him backing down from, this type of production, not necessarily 143 yards every week, but all he needs is the opportunities to be able to convert him because he's a good running back. And I anticipate the Jaguars will be a good offense this year. So you want a running back getting the most of the carries on a good offense, and I think that'll be him for the rest of the season.
My topic. All right. So before I go, I'm going to bring up a comment from someone that actually has once in a while has some good opinions. Some guy named Jamie Perogue. Travis Etienne was my most drafted running back in best ball because he was cheap. So I will agree with you that he was cheap when it came to best ball, but I'm gonna keep this nice, sweet, and short. Jordan. Finally. After a couple years of down on ETN talk, I was all in on one, and then with Peterson being gone, and we're wanting to see what we have. I'm not just like we brought up that there's going to be something about a certain player later from Rahul. I was going, what is Cohen going to be able to do with this offense? Like you said, the depth chart said one thing. Like you, LaQuinn Allen, you have 2. And I think now that we can talk about the Jaguars, I think the Bigsby trade, I'm curious to see what that does for Tootin, but that is we'll come to see. But I think this brings ETN back into the fold. I absolutely love it. Yes, he was top 6, Jamie. I get that. But the problem was he fell off the earth so bad that everyone forgot about him. That's why you got him so cheap. Now that he's back, for God's sakes, coaches got fired last year because they didn't know how to use him correctly. Peterson won a he's an offensive coach, and he still didn't know how to use Travis Etienne. So that's what I think. I think it is true. But Jordan, I am so glad you brought. I know it's not my topic to talk about, but nope. You know how I like to fill in the holes of a show. Sometimes that's what, as a host. Sometimes I try to fill in the holes instead of picking my exact topics. If someone didn't put this in there,
I had to.
I was talking about it. So go ahead, sir. So go ahead.
This is going to be short and sweet. My fake is Daniel. Daniel dollars, Daniel dimes, Daniel pennies, Daniel 2 nickels, whatever you want to call him. Daniel Jones is a fake. Miami is a dumpster fire, which we talked about ad nauseum last week. They did not show up to play. They didn't look like they cared to play, all of those things. And he took advantage of that. Kudos to him. The reason why he's a fake is that they're playing the Broncos this week. Not going to happen. They're playing another top defense the week after that in the, make sure I get this right here, the Titans, which made Bo Nix look horrible. And then they're going to be playing the Rams. Then we all saw what they did to C.J. Stroud. So the next 3 weeks are going to be painful for Daniel Jones, and I just don't see him. I'm not saying he has to finish as a top 5 quarterback or anything like Jamie called. You called that, so respect. But we're not getting a performance like that again, especially after this gauntlet of 3 games.
All right, so I didn't text Jamie and say congratulations on your take because I knew I would just hear it. But Jamie, I respected your take. You know why, right? If I didn't respect your take, would Daniel Jones have been the cover boy of the thumbnail this week if I did not respect your take?
Very
true.
true.
You know how hard it hurt for me to have to suck it up and do a thumbnail with Daniel 2 nickels on it? So start off your take about his new nickname and take it away.
Well, this week I did call him Danny Dollars, but we're gonna get more into it later in my segment.
Yep.
But I do want to say, like, he was real last week because it was obvious him going up against that defense that he was gonna be in that top 10. I didn't say top 5.
Can someone please
That's not
fact check this?
I don't see it.
Cool.
So I didn't expect top 5. So that blew my mind. So yeah, in a way, it is a fake because I just didn't see him doing that great. And I'll talk a little bit more later. But Jordan, you're right. Going forward, the next matchups, I even think I brought it up last week that it's not going to be good for him. So yeah, fake performance. I'm going to give like a half credit to that because like I did call that big blowout. But going forward, yeah, he's not going to do that.
All right, so I got to bring this up. We have a super chat. So before we go to Rolls takes, Meatball, we appreciate it, my man. Super chat in a 10 PPR super flex dynasty. I need 2 flex between ETN, Samson, Judy, or Debo. I am leaning ETN and Samson. Number 2, Ward or Penix in the super flex spot.
Ugh. Okay, so this is easy for me. I'm going to go ETN and Debo.
Yeah.
Just strictly don't trust the Browns unless you have other options. And then Ward and Penix. Who's Tennessee playing?
The Rams.
Oh no, you're right.
And Penix is playing.
Tough.
Vikings.
The Vikings. Yeah, Vikings.
I guess I'll lean Penix.
I'm going Penix.
Yeah,
same.
Penix. Did you see the mistake the news made? They actually put a S instead of the
I
X.
saw that.
There's been a couple times it's happened.
That's crazy.
I mean, you never know.
Also,
Meatball, I will
come back Sunday morning also because we have a start sit show Sunday morning.
Yeah, I'll prop that later. All right, Rahul, let me make sure I set you up right. All right. So this player did play the Miami Dolphins. However, this player, I don't care if you're going to talk about him a lot or not. I just have to say, this man is going to be good. Take it away, Raul.
That's right. That's right. Even if we think Danny Tenpennies is fake, I don't think there's any question about it. Real this week is the Colts tight end, the first round draft pick, Tyler Warren, who had 7 catches on 9 targets for 76 yards. He was only on 20 routes on those 7 catches. He picked up 5 first downs. I think first down per run is a stat that I've been playing around a little more. It lends a little more credence to good on a football field rather than the PPR scam that we see, cough, cough, Wandale Robinson do from time to time. What I really loved about Tyler Warren, man, 1 rush attempt, 1 end zone target. He got 1 screen, 1 RPO target. He showed yak, he showed run blocking, and I think that last part didn't score you any fantasy points in his run blocking. But with Tyler Warren amongst all these Colts weapons, I have no worry that this guy is ever going to leave the field. That's something we always worry about with Josh Downs, who is a phenomenal talent in his own right, cannot crack over like 50, 60% snap share because they just don't trust him in 2 wide receiver, 1 wide receiver sets. No such qualms with Tyler Warren in first ever NFL game, first ever drive. He had 3 catches, 4 targets in his first ever drive. Now, they are not going to be playing the Miami Dolphins each week, and we'll get on to this Colts week 2 matchup just in a little bit in the show. But I'm left already with no questions that Tyler Warren is the real deal. We saw it in college and underrated. No stat sheet's going to tell you this, but the guy is a mentality monster, right? He just feels like a beast. And sometimes you just gotta NFL is not, it's not a soft game. You gotta give it to the big guy at some point. And I think Tyler Warren, man, I'm so excited about him. I think top 5 tight end this year is well within his range of outcomes.
Jamie?
That's awesome, man. Because Raul, you knew how much I love Tyler Warren even pre-draft. I called him a tight end 4 in Dynasty, and I think I even moved him up to 3 at one point. Like the dude is that rare blend of size, athleticism. He's got that football IQ. I think he caught 75% of his targets in college, 34% aerial dominator, and you could tell that he used to play quarterback because he got that pre-snap reads, and he's sharp. He knows how to manipulate defenders with his routes, and I'll talk a little bit more about him later going into next week. But yes, Tyler Warren is the man. He was being underdrafted, and people slept on him too much.
All right, so Raul, there was a game that I think was one of the best games to watch this weekend. It's supposed to be 2 defensive teams, but it was one of the highest scoring games of the week. Tell us about one of those offenses.
Man, I definitely thought it was going to be the stink fest of the week. A game that had the lowest week 1 over-under ever in the books. It was 38.5. With 66 points. We're, of course, talking about the Jets versus the Steelers, but I am going to call fake on the Steelers offense. Now, man, is this a vibes play? It might just be a vibes play. Don't trust the vibes. I do have some stats, to back up my case. One thing I am monitoring closely is they were 25th, so 25th highest in QB pressure rate, or they had the 8th lowest QB pressure rate in week 1. In spite of this, they were 4th in sack percentage. So there's a little bit of worry about the O-line. I'm also watching the run pass split, 34 passes to 20 runs. Just does not feel like an Arthur Smith, even an Aaron Rodgers offense. 3rd in the league in week 1 in yards after the catch. There's a lot of manufactured looks. They were getting DK Metcalf on short throws and letting him run after with great results for sure. But I just don't know if this is a translatable. What we saw in week 1 is translatable, certainly with the 34 points. And when you take it to fantasy, I don't want listeners out there trying to chase the fantasy points that they saw on show. Receiving touchdowns, and Rodgers had 4. They went to Calvin Austin, Jonnu Smith, Jalen Warren, and Ben Skowronek, man, still playing NFL football in 2025. That's a little bit surprising to me. Last point, and then full circle on the vibes. I really just do think this is a big Rodgers revenge game. There are fights breaking out like literally every snap in the first half that I watched. Fights breaking out on off the ball. They talked a lot about how Rodgers kind of knew to stay away from Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner individually had a very good game if you look at the yards and receptions allowed, and they just kind of went everywhere else. I think Rodgers had chip on his shoulder, a little bit more knowledge of the defense. I just think it's going to equalize a little bit more. Steelers probably get back up to their defensive standards. The run rate increases. A lot of those other metrics regress. And I just don't think we're going to see. I mean, if the Steelers even get 34 in any of the other games they play this year, I will be a little bit surprised. I'm calling fake on the Pittsburgh Steelers offense based on what we saw in week 1.
I agree. You can't count on Rodgers at his age to throw 4 touchdowns or even 3. He hadn't done that many times in the last several years. Arthur Smith's offenses have never really been prolific. I've hated it since he ruined Kyle Pitts and was using Jonnu Smith over him in Atlanta. So I don't believe it either. Spoken like a true Browns fan, Davies comment. But I'm calling fake on that too, man. I just don't see them. The revenge factor of it all with Rodgers feeling slighted by the Jets. They made him fly across the country to tell him they didn't want him anymore. I felt like he had that and he came out and showed him. Same thing with a guy I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but I think he's more sustainable than Rodgers.
I mean, for gosh sakes, in his press conference, he said, "I'm glad I beat everyone associated with the Jets."
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't smoking ayahuasca. He was just smoking freaking revenge. All right. So, speaking of Jamie not liking the Steelers because he's a Browns fan, this hurts me to have to talk about my real player. Because I didn't think that a veteran being signed this late was going to be. And being signed this late, I was kind of down on him because there's another wide receiver that I love on this team that didn't do so hot. My real against the Kansas City Chiefs last week was Keenan Allen. 7 receptions, 10 targets, 1 touchdown, 68 yards. He ended up, I believe, in PPR, I have it right here, hold on, as number WR10. Here's the thing. Do I think he's going to have 10 targets every game? No. But I've turned the corner on thinking that Herbert might be throwing more than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And if he does throw more than I thought, he's definitely going to be sprinkled in because he's not my fake player of the week, but I'm telling you right now, Huge is not doing that every goddamn week. Okay? So doing that, I think Keenan is going to be in it. I think Ladd's going to be involved, but I do think that Keenan is viable fantasy every week. WR3 for 3 wide receiver leagues, flex, that kind of leagues. Raul, what do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. And just to back up one of the points you made about the pass rate for the Chargers were 4th in neutral pass rate in week 1. Since their bye, which was very early in 2024, it was week 5 bye, but since week 6, they've been top 10 in the NFL in pass rate over expectation. Herbert also led the league in week 1 in passing EPA on first down. I think all of this was just very surprising, especially when they led the whole game. They led the whole damn game. It was very surprising to see. And I do think this is something real with the pass rate, with the volume that we're going to get at this offense that perhaps, we rightly were worried after they spent a 1st-round pick on a running back, whether there's going to be enough passing volume. Now, 2.5 fantasy weapons, perhaps. I won't sleep on Q's just yet, but I think Keenan Allen, especially in PPR leagues, is certainly in flex consideration week in, week out. He showed his role as a chain mover. I don't have the exact number of first downs, but it seemed like every reception he was picking up that first down, sitting in zone, finding that soft spot. That connection's already established with Herbert, and that's maybe where that guy sat off the couch late in the summer, that's maybe that one situation it works. So, when you've played with this quarterback for 5 years already. So I'm definitely with you there, Mike. Real on Keenan Allen.
All right. Jamie, do you have any thoughts on this question?
Fab FFPC, that's a tough format. 8%, maybe 6%.
What do you guys think?
Best ball. I mean, I know he was just wide receiver 10, and that's where I think Keenan's value is more in those lineup leagues. Yeah, he caught that touchdown, but I would expect him to be one of the less likely touchdown options. It's more like lineup, let me get my comfortable 10 to 12 points and get out of here kind of play. Again, I'm not too familiar with FFPC personally though, but best ball, that's just kind of where I'm not too sure.
Let's just say it's high buy-in.
Oh, okay. So okay.
It's big money.
High stakes.
10%.
Yeah, let's go 8 to 10.
Yeah.
All right. So Raul and Jordan are about to be collateral damage here. Jamie,
what's up?
Me and you, because you're the one talking about this player after me. We're about, because I already know how you feel. Me and you are about to get fired from the show from going for 2.
Oh, I don't think we are. I don't think you've seen me and Raul show a couple weeks ago. So go ahead.
You changed?
Go ahead, man. Let's see what you got.
Oh,
It was our very last show. It was our very last show last week.
There's even a short YouTube clip on it, man.
All right, here we go. There is no way, unless I see this for 2 more weeks, that I can say real on WR2 of the week, 112 yards, a touchdown, 8 catches on 11 targets. Keon Coleman, I don't care, Jeff. This is not real. Okay? For a few reasons. 1, it's Keon frickin' Coleman. For 2, did you see all those frickin' spectators leaving the frickin' stands? They gave up on Keon Coleman and Josh Allen. How do you give up on Josh Allen? I don't know. If they weren't behind like they were, he wouldn't be in this. This was a game script at the end that they needed. He got that touchdown towards the end. I don't think I think it was at 24%. I don't think he's going to live up to a almost 25% target share every week. I'm expecting them to, obviously you got Kincaid. They're going to keep James Cook. And they had to push the ball down the field. They had to go further down the field at the end of the game, being down by 14, 15, whatever it was at that one point. We don't even need to talk about the fumble that changed the game. But in the sense of, if it wasn't for that moment, we wouldn't be talking about him, Jamie. So I already know where this is going. So I'm just going to put up the fisticuffs now. Why am I wrong? Because me and you always disagree.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I was the biggest Keon Coleman hater. You guys know that.
Yes, you were.
This last year, his rookie year, he only had 8.6 fantasy points per game. He was wide receiver 55 or some shit like that. But I was saying he was a buy-in dynasty because he was going so low as like a wide receiver 40, 42. And those usually give you about 10 to 12 points per game. So I was thinking if he plays a full season and he gets you 120 targets, he'll catch half of them because that's who he is. But that's still going to give you like 1,100 yards, maybe 7 to 8 touchdowns, and that's going to put him at 12.8 points per game. And that's at the wide receiver 24 to 28 range. So that's why I'm saying I thought you should buy him. Okay. But I do agree with you. It is a fake performance. He is not a top 10 guy. He's not even really a top 20 guy. He should be around that wide receiver 24 to 28 range. So don't go out and overbuy him. Just remember, he's going to have bad games also. He's only going to catch half of his targets. Put him at a wide receiver 30 if you're buying him in Dynasty. Wide receiver 25 if you're buying him now. But don't buy him as a wide receiver 2.
That's for damn sure. Don't buy him as a wide receiver 2. All right, so it is time for host topic of the week. we all have one topic that we're going to do each week. We have revamped it. I was told, not told, but I'm keeping mine because people just like me freaking going crazy and going ape shit for no reason. But all the other guys have changed theirs. So I'm going to put my little spin on, you know how I like to introduce everyone. So Jamie's is going to be about a matchup every week. So Jamie, hey brother, it's the matchup mania of the week.
Yes, the ultimate game breakdown, and I wanted to highlight the Colts versus the Broncos. So let's start with Michael Pittman Jr. After such a nice game last week, no one expected that. Uh, like Surtain's gonna have him locked down almost all games. So I'm calling a bust, maybe 2 to 3 catches, 25 to 30 yards, and I'm keeping him on my bench this week. But Josh Downs, though, it was pretty much the opposite last week. Only 2 catches, and I could see him pushing for 10 targets this week, maybe seven catches, 70 to 80 yards. So that's going to be about 14 points per game. Don't keep him on your bench. Start Josh Downs. Pittman and Downs will keep playing off each other week to week. This is going to be a Downs week. Now, Tyler Warren, we talked about him earlier. Man, last week, like 7 for 76. Like, this guy is the only one that I trust in the passing game, in this offense. He's going to be consistent. He's got that red zone role. He's got the targets. He's got that upside. So lock him in as a top 5 must start every week. No questions. Then you got Jonathan Taylor, obviously a workhorse. You gets what 16 to 18 carries, 70 to 85 yards this game against the Broncos. A couple catches, and I can see him getting a touchdown. And that's going to be a solid RB1. So got to start him 16, 18 fantasy points or more. Then we got Danny Jones, Danny Dollars, trading in his dollar for a bunch of pennies this week, man. Like, last week, obviously, we talked about it earlier. He was top 5. And I'm just telling you now, it's going to be a horrible game. I don't see over 170 yards passing. I don't see a touchdown from him. The only thing keeping him from not tanking is his rushing upside. So maybe like a short rushing touchdown and some rushing yards. So I could see him playing as a low end QB2 for me, but not that QB1. Bo Nix, on the other hand, I'm all in on him. He's going to have a bounce back. Last week he didn't do too well, but he's got that rushing upside. He'll find the end zone a couple times, and I could just see his week 2 performance being in the top 10 in fantasy. So I'm starting him no matter what. And Cortland Sutton, love the matchup here, man. Shavarius Ward does not shadow, only about 30% of the snaps, which means Sutton is going to get plenty of mismatches to work with. Like, I'm going to call a repeat of last week. So give him 6-7 catches, 60-some yards, and a touchdown. So at least he's going to be a strong wide receiver 2 with upside. And then Evan Engram last week, he was quiet, but I could see him working more into the game this week. So I'm not calling for a blow-up game from him, but I can see 4 to 5 catches, 50 yards, safe, 8 to 10 fantasy point floor. If he gets that touchdown, that puts him right up into that top 5 area. And then obviously we got the headache, J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey, man. Dobbins got the volume. 16 carries to Harvey's 6 last week, but Harvey, he's more efficient. And without Dobbins' touchdown last week, they would have basically scored the same amount of fantasy points. So this backfield is going to be messy all season, but right now, both are just flex plays. What do you guys think? Oh, start Broncos defense.
Okay, so before we go any further, Jamie, I'm going to have you answer this, and I'm going to have Jordan answer this question, and then I'll go to Raul about this matchup. Super chat again, so I have to put this up. Thank you, Fear Boner, for Walker Charbonnet or Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt as my RB2 in a 12-man full-point PPR. The other major point of this question, because this is why I wanted to wait for yours, Jamie, Penix or Bo Nix as his QB. So I'm going to let you go first, Jamie.
Okay, well, I'm definitely going Bo Nix. You just heard I think he's going to have a blow-up game, and he's got that rushing upside. Penix does not, so you're relying on his passing. Walker, Charbonnet, Jay. I'm probably going to go Krosky-Merritt. I hate to say it. I know we're going to talk about Walker tomorrow on the Fantasy Six-Pack show, Raul.
Mhm.
I still believe in him. It's just he's coming off of that injury with that, I think it was a hamstring. He didn't practice much, and he didn't play in the preseason, so it's going to be a slow start for him. So I'm gonna go with Mr. Bill.
Cool. Jordan, what do you think about these?
Definitely Bo Nix. But I'm staying away from those Packers, man. That run, you saw what they did to Gibbs and Montgomery. I don't really want that if I'm the commander. So
It's tough, dude.
it's tough to start Charbonnet, but like,
If
I
you want
get
the
this Walker,
upside,
man.
yeah, Walker has to be the upside.
yeah, but yeah, one of
Yeah,
those
Dave
guys.
Charbonnet, upside Walker. So, Raul, why don't you just give a couple thoughts on the matchup in general from the matchup mania?
Yeah, I think Jamin, I think you called it right. I think this Broncos D is terrifying. It was the Broncos that really, I think when I was actually at the Rams Texans game, so I kind of missed a lot of the afternoon slate. But I was like, I kept checking that score. It's like, man, 13-12, like late in the third quarter. It's like, what the hell is going on over here? The only point of pushback I might have, Jamie, and this is maybe I'm big branding this, but I still would be a little nervous to start Josh Downs. I think in a lot of redraft leagues where you drafted him, he's probably like your first guy off the bench. So maybe there are options to pivot. I just wonder if the Colts again are just going to line up in a lot of like creative formations, 12 personnel, leave Downs on the sideline just to, protect against that Broncos D line. Josh Downs is the only call that perhaps I'll stay away from. What's interesting to me about the Broncos in week one is how short every throw was. They averaged only 4 yards per passing play. It's a lot of like what we saw early season Bo Nix. They just couldn't get the deep ball going. He was very erratic from time to time. I think he was just like moving a lot. So maybe game of rust, shake it off, see that bounce back. I think Cortland Sutton's almost automatic for like Cortland Sutton just feels like a guy you can pencil him in for like 660 and a touchdown, like week in, week out. That's just what the man does. So I think he's a start. Man, it's gonna be an interesting one. I think this is where like, hey, we're all in on Tyler Warren, but I think if he comes through in this matchup and puts in a good fantasy performance, that's when we can really be excited. Prop him up the boards. I think KTC, this is more dynasty talk. He's a borderline top 50 player. I think if he comes in with another maybe 7-catch game, he's gonna shoot way up. So good breakdown,
All right.
Jamie. Downs is the only one I'm a little bit hesitant on.
All right, so before we get into yours, Jordan, let's do a quick round the horn, yes or no, or who you would put in. Meatball has been in the show all night, so I don't want to leave him hanging. Pitts had 8 targets, Kincaid had 4, Chig -4. Minnesota shuts down the Bears tight end. So do I play Pitts, Kincaid, or Chig in a non-TEP?
I'm gonna go Kincaid.
Jordan?
If Drake London doesn't play, I'm going Pitts. But otherwise, probably Kincaid.
Kincaid, and I love Chig.
Yeah.
Rahul?
Same with Kincaid. I think Pitts looked healthier than he has in the last couple of years. Darnell Mooney was also out. So I think with that in mind, I'm gonna go with Kincaid for the upside.
Awesome. So let me make sure. Rahul, me and you might get cut off a tad bit on this one, but that's fine. So, Jordan, let me look at it to make sure I'm going to set you up right. Jordan, what are you seeing in your crystal ball prediction of the week?
I'm seeing That's terrible.
It was horrible. It'll be better next week.
I'm seeing Justin Fields and Brees Hall kind of picking up where they left off last week. Both finishing top 10 in their respective positions and leading the Jets to an upset win over the Bills. I just think that the Jets saw the blueprint on how to be successful against the Bills defense, which is what, Lamar. They're not Lamar and Derrick Henry. I'm not trying to say that they are, but,
No.
running quarterback, good running game. The Jets got it going against the Steelers last week, so I can see them doing that. This game is in New Jersey, and the last 3 meetings between those teams, the Jets have won 2 out of the last 3 at home. And then the other game that the Bills won was very close last year. So it's going to be a division matchup, a tough game. But I can see the Bills defense look like it can be had so far. And I see the Jets being able to exploit that with some of the same things that the Ravens were able to do. Brees Hall looked really good in his opportunities. Braylon Allen, I would imagine, will be better than he was. So, I see this being kind of a high-scoring game, and I see Fields and Brees Hall leading the way.
Awesome. Raul, why don't you just give a couple thoughts and then we'll just roll.
I already want to put my hand up. I refuse to do this for Zay Flowers, but I will honestly give in on my hardline Brees Hall stance from all offseason. Because, man, the dude looked amazing. He looked so shifty. There's one play where it looked like he should have been stopped 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and somehow made into a 3-yard gain. And that, it just showed this guy's always had the talent. Even though some of the snap concerns that we discussed last week were about, I think he only had 60% of the snaps. He didn't have the one, the goal line, or I don't think it was right on the goal line, but the one goal to go situation, the rushing touchdown went to Braylon Allen. But I don't think we walked away with any question that Brees Hall is the most talented back in that backfield. And if they're simply going to run that much, it doesn't really matter what the split is. Brees Hall will get his 19 carries for 102 yards. He also had an explosive play in the receiving game. Man, I may have faded the guy a little bit too hard. Brees Hall, they could follow that exact blueprint. Lamar, Derrick Henry, explosive runs. Enter Justin Fields and Brees Hall. I could see that working out, Jordan.
All right. So for Raul is going to have Boomer Doom, which is going to be 2 players, a Boom player and a Doom player for the week. But you guys both know, Jamie and Jordan, I got to introduce it somehow. So, boom! Who's your player?
Yep. I'm going with the boom of Trevor Lawrence. Man, disappointing first game. Only 170 odd passing yards. I think the best way to describe Trevor Lawrence's game is almost through Brian Thomas's stat line. 1 catch on 7 targets. He actually had only a 43% catchable target rate, which is the worst in the league amongst receivers who had 5 or more targets. But I'm ready for a bounce back here, week 2 against the Bengals, and what should be a shootout against what should be a very poor defense. I just think at a certain point, the Jaguars just weren't pushed far enough by the Carolina Panthers, who might have been one of the most disappointing teams in week 1. There also was a pretty lengthy thunderstorm delay in the middle of the game. The pace was all off, lent heavily into the run, which had a lot of success. But I think Trevor Lawrence bounces back here. He's got the great weapons. We saw Hunter almost a full-time wide receiver. We saw the run game be really explosive, not just ETN's work, but the rushing touchdown that BTJ had on the end around. I think it was schemed up to perfection by Liam Cohen, who really got the best out of the likes of Bucky Irving, Rashad White. Even Sean Tucker had explosive games. Baker Mayfield, I mentioned this, 7% touchdown to attempt ratio, which is far exceeds league average. I think Trevor Lawrence bounces back in what should be a high-scoring game against a soft defense that allowed, Joe Flacco and the Browns to put up a lot of offensive yards. But I think T-Law, very disappointing. At times feels like it's starting to tick on Trevor's career, but I do think in week 2 he picks it up, has a boom game. I'm expecting 2+ passing touchdowns, maybe even a sneaky little quarterback run for a rush score as well. Trevor Lawrence, boom of the week.
Jordan,
I
do you
agree.
agree with the boom?
I agree 100%. Before I saw you put it on the show sheet, he was going to be like in the crystal ball like that. I really think he's going to have a big game. And even last week, man, the interception that he threw to
Yeah.
J.C. Horn, that was a heck of a play by him. But he was like right. If he would have like a few inches, it would have been a big touchdown to Travis Hunter. So his day could have looked a whole lot different. I feel like this has shootout written all over it with the Bengals, and so I see him putting up a lot of points. Though he has the weapons. The game last week was kind of messed up, like you said, with like the hour lightning delay and everything. So I'm interested to see him bounce back in a big way this week.
So I want to answer this question. BTJ will bounce back because you've seen what Tillman did against the Bengals, and BTJ is 100 times more talented than Tillman.
I'll be honest. I think we're all going to agree with this because Meatball, me and you have talked. You know the big league I'm in now that I drafted BTJ in, so I 100% agree that he's going to bounce back.
Yeah.
I think we all agree, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Next question is for Jordan.
I wonder who put that there.
Oh,
I actually have a league where I have both in my home
That's
league.
fine, but you know how I feel.
I'm gonna go with my guy Fields this week.
Nice. Yeah, same.
All right, so okay, here you go. This one's for you, Jamie.
I'm gonna go Bo Nix.
Okay. All right. So Rahul, I don't like you, but I understand. So who is your Doom Player of the Week?
The people's panic meter is at DEFCON 1 on this guy.
DEFCON
Isaiah.
1, more like DEFCON 1,000.
Yeah.
I did learn that it's actually more serious the lower the numbers go. It's I've used that metaphor wrongly in the past, so I had to make sure I got DEFCON 1 as the one to indicate the impending doom that I see for the Kansas City Chiefs running back and what is a messy RBBC. Isaiah Pacheco going up against the Eagles in week 2. I do not think this is a guy that should be anywhere near starting lineups. Extremely worrying usage in week 1 against the Chargers. Only 49% of snaps, while Kareem Hunt had 39%. Rashad Smith had 14%. The sharp ones amongst us might realize that math might not math, but Rashad Smith was in a couple of pony personnel packages as well. What's even more worrying is he only had 5 attempts and 3 targets. So 5 attempts for Hunt as well. It just does not feel good. And now, well, let me touch on the matchup first. Going against the Eagles, what should be a high-powered offense, I don't see it being a run-conducive script. We did see Javonte Williams run hard, have 2 touchdowns. But you got to remember that Jalen Carter was ejected right before a snap was played. And I wouldn't be surprised if Schottenheimer was just like, man, we're going to run the ball down their throats on this opening drive. And we saw a lot of that production that way. I don't think that's going to be the case this week. The one factor that I could see is like now it's very different when a player gets injured in the middle of a game. So, how your game plan you've been planning not just all week for week 1, you've been planning for multiple weeks in the off season, and Xavier Worthy goes out. So now could the game plan switch? We saw them be very run heavy in the middle of last year when they realized they kind of had to be dink and dunk. I just don't think this is the week that we see Isaiah Pacheco return to fantasy goodness. That is my doom of the week. Do not start Isaiah Pacheco in week 2.
I 100% agree. I don't have him inside my top 36 running backs. He needs a touchdown to hit maybe 11 points.
Yeah.
So that's the upside that I'm just staying away from. He is my least owned running back in all of my leagues. I just stayed away from him all year because I didn't know what that backfield was going to look like. And I'm not going to start him now until he shows us that he can get 70% of the snaps. And I don't see that happening.
He has to show it first, and I will wait. I will wait till I see that before I put in my lineups.
All right, quick around the horn. We got to get moving a little bit. We're at the hour 10 mark. Fear Boner, Tyreek Hill, bench or trade. Roll. You start. Go to Jordan and Jamie.
Trade, see what you can get. It could be a sell low. You don't want to try to catch a falling knife. I mean, you already got the knife with you if he's on your team, but see what you can get. Vibes are so off. And I don't want to wait for some kind of team to come in and trade for Tyreek Hill, and that's his fantasy savior. We cannot like bank on that. But Chiefs, please.
I'm benching him. I don't want to get rid of a guy that explosive just yet. I mean, Jalen Waddle got banged up. I want to believe the Dolphins are going to have some resiliency and fight back, and he's their number one guy still, regardless of if he's not a captain or not. I'm going to hold him a couple more weeks to see what it looks like.
I can't do any of these because I never drafted him. He was going way too high.
Say that.
Way too high. He was going in at the end of the second, early third, and I wasn't going to touch him until the fifth. And he never fell that far. So if you can, trade him now, but make sure you get that fourth, fifth round value for him, even though you drafted him in the second round.
I mean, that's fair. But this was the one host topic that we had to keep in just because it's legendary. So we got to start it off right. First of the year, Mike, here you go with the rant of the week. I can't do any,
No, you're good. That's all that's all I needed from you. All right. So here we go. There was not a lot that really like got me moving. And then I was looking at some stats and then I was like, you know what? This is the best I got because part of me wanted to rant about no, I can't think of his name because you just brought it up, Raul. Homeboy spitting at Dak. Part of me wanted to rant about freaking CeeDee Lamb dropping a ball. Part of me wanted to freaking rant about, even though it's in the Chiefs game, I'm not going to do it, rant about Tart not getting freaking ejected for hitting freaking Kelsey in the head and then freaking deflecting 4 balls after that. Jamie, I am going to your game to do my rant of the week, but it's not about your Cleveland Browns. It's because the Bengals keep making me stressed out every goddamn first week of the season. Every September, they make me worried. Okay? 3-6 in the last 3 years in September. They go out and only win for one reason. Because Cleveland doesn't know what a goddamn kicker is. And it's okay that I say that because I'm on a show on going for 2. This isn't going for the kicker. This is going for 2 because the kick is unacceptable. Okay? Joe Burrow, I go and draft in the first freaking round of my big league that I just got into, and he puts up a pooper scooper. Okay? Yeah, Joe Fluco Flacco's their quarterback, and they freaking almost win. Okay? You guys drop balls. The Bengals freaking Chase Brown. Did he forget who Jamar Chase is? I mean, did he forget who Jamar Chase is? Part of me thinks this is not just a Joe Burrow problem because they did play in preseason finally. Oh, it's, the years prior. They don't play in preseason. They're not warmed up, blah, blah, blah. 2 years ago, they lost to the Browns in week 3. They can't keep doing this crap. But when I saw this stat, this is what made me go, the Bengals do have a freaking problem. What if I told you this was the second lowest total offensive yards, 141, second lowest game total in Bengals history, even when they were the Bungles, when they were one of the worst teams in the NFL. They had more yardage than this week. And now you got Chase Brown, Joe Burrow, Noah Fant, Gesicki, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase, and you can't get 141 yards. And there was a point in that game, and Jamie, I was texting you during the game, and we didn't even bring this up. There was a point in that game, for people that don't know baseball, there was called an immaculate inning. There was almost an immaculate drive when Myles Garrett almost had 3 sacks in a freaking row. And the only reason he didn't get 3 is because they decided to give the third one credit to a guy who got his ankle instead of him because he was falling down. The Bengals need to figure this out. Will they figure it out in October? Yes. But like we have brought up before, you got the Ravens. The Steelers just won. The Browns, sorry, Jamie, the Browns are the Browns.
Yeah, obviously.
They're the color of poop for a reason. The Bengals need to figure it out. But, Jamie and Jordan, I do have a question about my rant. Is this also a coach problem?
Definitely 100% a coach problem. The whole not playing a preseason thing was something that he corrected this year. But I just think if you're not ready to play when it's time to play, that's kind of on the coach to motivate those guys to get them ready. So, I would say it's a coach problem.
Jamie?
I mean, they're notoriously known as slow starters. My friend J-Man in the chat, he lives close to Cincy, so he knows the culture, and everyone down there even says the Bengals are known for slow starts, so they don't expect much week 1. I think they're going to get going. They're a playoff team. Give it a little bit of time. Chase Brown's going to be fine. Jamar Chase is going to be fine. Higgins is going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, and I do think they will, but for the team's sake and for fantasy's sake, be ready. This week 1, week 2, like, put us in your lineups, and you're supposed to be the man. You can't just, I mean, like last year, Burrow was almost, was MVP discussions after, like, the last 6 weeks. Problem is, the first 10 weeks, he sucked. He lost to the Cowboys last year. See what happened to them. All right, it is time to put my buddies to work for a second. You ready? You ready, Jamie?
Go.
All right, we'll do this on the whim.
Underdog code.
All right, go ahead and play on Underdog. Hit that link. Use the promo code capital GF2. I know best ball season is over. What am I talking? Jamie's always in best ball mode no matter what.
Best ball, man.
You can do weekly to week. But if you're in the offseason and you're playing, there's a 55% chance you're in a league with Jamie, no matter what time of the day you decide to join a league. But the biggest thing about Underdog right now, you have the hires and lowers. Yeah, I missed a 5-leg touchdown by one player. Thanks, JT. But GF2, and you get up to $1,000 in bonus bucks. Go ahead, support our sponsor, GF2. Get $1,000 in bonus bucks. It is time for Cheat of the Week. We'll do this a little bit quicker to get going. But, Raul, you're new to the show, so we're going to start with you this time. Waiver wire player for you. Take it away.
Booty, 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 booty everywhere. Booty, booty, booty. On Sunday, booty was there. I'm talking about Kayshawn Booty, the third-year man out of LSU.
Let me go booty, booty, rocking everywhere.
I thought that's where he was going with it.
Man, that's what I meant to do, and I just came to me. Anyway, he said go quick, and I will go quick on Kayshawn Booty, the New England Patriots wide receiver, who had led the team at 103 receiving yards in week 1. Quietly, his third 100-yard game in the last 4 could be a late breakout. This is a guy who was a huge prospect, especially as a freshman, broke out at LSU, led a receiving room that had both Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas in it. Interesting thing for me, he ran the most wide receiver routes on the team at 41. Pop Douglas had 38. Diggs only 27. That could speak, coming off the ACL. What was a little interesting for me was he was used as a deep threat in that offense, but coming out of college, and I know, the prospect kind of tanked, but he was kind of chalked up as that yak monster, almost like Debo-esque, like, like Jarvis Landry, but with a little bit more juice. And I wouldn't be surprised if they see they can trust it, they start working him into the offense a little bit more. I apologize for my pretty shitty pun there, but go pick up Kayshon Boutte off your waiver wires. I think he could be there. He could be a real guy. Train of thought has been lost, but Boutte could be found.
Jordan,
I'm done.
Jordan, put the rails back on the train.
Booty, rocking everywhere. It's insane. All right. So I'm going with the obvious here, Dylan Sampson. Jerome Ford seems like he's falling out of the pecking order there. Obviously, Judkins signed his deal, so he might join the team as early as this week. But I think that just means Ford may fall out, but I think it'll be a Sampson and Judkins kind of 1-2 punch moving forward. So you still want to have that. He handled a lot of the passing downs work, made a good fantasy day out of it. Like I said earlier in the show, the Browns are going to be trailing a lot. They're going to be throwing. He's going to benefit from that. He's like 52% rostered on Sleeper. Probably most of that is like Dynasty Leagues, and 48% on Yahoo and 33% on ESPN. So go grab him if you can. Wanted to throw in a bonus really quick. Jawan Johnson, sounds disgusting to have any other piece of the Saints offense, but the guy had 11 targets, second on the team to Chris Olave. This is another team that's going to be throwing the ball a whole bunch because they're going to be losing a lot. They don't have a lot of receiving help. Olave had 13 targets. But, and Rashid Shaheed still had 9. So there's enough volume to go around with the amount that they're going to have to throw because they're going to be coming from behind in a lot of games. Pick him up. Tight end is like shallow this year, as it always is. Kittle's hurt now. So people are going to be needing a tight end help. You can look to him if you're desperate. He's only 1% roster.
All right, Jamie.
So, Jordan, you missed an opportunity with Samson. I want to talk to Samson. If you've ever seen the Friday movie.
Of course you did that.
Yeah, I did. but I do not remember that part until you said it.
So, and then mine is say goodbye to Hollywood. But Hollywood's coming in, man. Hollywood Brown.
What's going on here?
You started it.
I started it.
You had a former first
I blame
round
you, Raul.
You had a former first-round pick in Hollywood Brown. He looks ready to bounce back with Rashee Rice. He's suspended 5 more games. Xavier Worthy, he got that shoulder injury. We don't know how long he's going to be out. But Brown instantly became Mahomes' top target. We saw a ridiculous 16 targets, catching 10 for 99 yards. He had a 49-yard grab. And just to put that in perspective, he had 11 more targets than Juju, 12 more targets than Kelsey. So with Worthy sideline for a while and Rice still being out, I'm wanting to go after Hollywood Brown because he is the number 1 priority ad. He's going to be the number 1 receiver on that team. You can throw him in your flex instantly. He's going to be a high-end flex value right now. Go grab him. Don't wait.
Well, you know why he had more targets than Kelsey?
Because
Kelsey was still being evaluated for running over his own goddamn player.
That was being evaluated for his brain injury trying to get married to Taylor Swift.
We're talking about on the field stuff.
His brain is working just fine marrying that woman. He knows.
The prenup is being made because of her, not because of him. That's a good thing. All right, so it was a great show for week 2, the first real one of the week year with everything. Jordan, I will have a better intro for your crystal ball.
No. I was thinking about what Jamie said last week about the
PB Herman, Leka hi, Mekala Heidi ho.
No, you're talking about doing the whole thing.
The turban.
Jamie, I'm about to put you in timeout. All right, it's been a great show, so we are going to throw it around the horn for some goodbyes, and then we'll get the heck out of here. Raul, start it off, bud.
Great show, guys. Good to get into the regular order. Having a great time with you guys. Only my second show on the cheat sheet, but I'm very excited for the next 16 that we have coming. The next 16 weeks of pain that we have in fantasy football. I mean, I'm so hyped that it's all back. But thank you all for a great show, and thank you to the viewers for sticking in with us.
Thank you for everybody who was in the chat. We love it when you guys have questions. I appreciate. I'm glad football is back. Looking forward to next week. Let's enjoy some football this week and starting on Thursday with my Packers getting a dub.
Yep.
Yeah. Just want to thank everyone in the chat. Fear Boner, Fantasy Meatball, J-Man. Come check us out every Tuesday here on Cheat Sheet. Wednesday, come check out me and Raul over at the Fantasy Six Pack at 9 o'clock. And then right after that, I do a live show on the IDP Center with Steve Hungarter. And every Sunday morning, me and Topher are going to be right here answering all your Star Sit questions.
And I'll be in the chat giving them a hard time because he needs it. You guys know where to find me every Tuesday night. You also know if you need a graphic, hit me up on the Twitter machine, hit me up on the Insta. Jamie knows that anytime I have an idea for a graphic, I hit him up and say, what do you think? Jordan's seen a bunch of them. So other than that, I don't have much to say, but football is back, boys, and we got already into week 2. So let's get it done. For Raul, I'm Jordan. For Raul, Jordan, and Jamie, I am Mike. I don't know what I'm doing. It's late, and it's time to go to bed.